Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Owen here with the Tim Owen Show. Thank you for joining us again. How's your day going? Mine's going fantastic. Even though I'm surrounded by the state, the government has got its fingers and its tentacles in every aspect of its life. It's in my home right now, taking food out of my fridge, printing up money, robbing me of my buying power, telling me what I can and can't put in my own body, telling me what I can't. Even all this is going on, guys. I still feel free. You know what? It's a mental state. It's a state of mind. And part of this program, I know we talk about all the ways that the government sucks, all the ways that all these things that we can't control, war in Ukraine, climate catastrophe, carbon tax, 15-minute cities, all these things coming at us. Probably can't control them very much. But what is this podcast about to me? Well, we're about to get into it. And finally, we're going to have a conversation about how to live free in an unfree world. How do I live free despite all the stuff that the government's doing to me, despite all the nonsense coming down, despite all the bastards trying to get a piece of my life? If there's nothing I can do about that, can I still live free? And I think the answer is yes. And my next guest I'm going to have on today is doing just that. He is taking personal responsibility in his life to increase the range of choices available to him, to increase his own personal freedom, to make himself a better version of himself. And this is a guy that I'm very fond of, because when I started in the Libertarian Party, he was one of the first people to support me, to bring me out to Victoria, BC, to set up speaking gigs for me. He had my back multiple times when detractors and when you're involved in politics, it's a dirty game, and there are always people gunning for your spot and trying to undermine you and take it for themselves. Josh is one of the good guys. He had my back multiple times, and I've seen him take this turn in life where he's focused on his health and his fitness. And I got to tell you, it's inspiring every day to see his Facebook feed. But I also know it's challenging, because I'm on the same path. I'm big fan of fitness, and I've been on and off that wagon and struggling with consistency. So I want to chat with Josh today, find out what's going on, and find out everything. Let's see what we can glean from how can we live free in an unfree world. Josh Steffler, there he is, that big, beautiful man, looking happy. And I don't know, there's a glow about you. There's an aura about you. What's going on, Josh?
Well, I'm just, it's been a difficult year, going through a lot of stuff. And finally, when you hit rock bottom is when you can actually really find some personal freedom. And hit rock bottom a few times last year. I thought I'd hit rock bottom, and then something would push me off. That. It's like, no, we're not done with you yet. There's farther down to go. And
well, let's talk about that. What's been going on in your life in this past year? We haven't really chatted. I've seen some stuff on Facebook, so I think I have an idea. And again, like I talked to you before about, if we cross into areas that are too personal or too painful, let me know. But I think that the audience, I want to be vulnerable here with my audience. I want to talk about my struggles. I want to talk about my failures, and life is messy. And so let's get into the messiness of it and figure out how our way through this.
So 2022, I guess we'll start at where I kind of began. Throughout my entire life, I've kind of struggled with my weight, my fitness and stuff. And always had people telling me that I was really overweight and that my injuries would prevent me from doing anything. And I kind of let them set those parameters, and struggled with, also a few years ago, I jumped into keto and diets, right? And, you can lose weight through diets, but it's difficult to stick around and stick with. And
right.
Yeah, so 2022, New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and this is super embarrassing, but I hit 299.7 pounds. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, there's no way I can let myself hit 300 pounds. And so, my New Year's resolution was to lose a pound a week, and sustainable, reasonable. I failed a lot. I failed a lot at the beginning. I started my journal.
Sorry, when was this? This was just this year?
January 1st, 2022.
22. Last year. I was going to say, you've been doing it more than a month and a half.
Yeah. So I've been working on this really for a solid year and a bit. Right. And there was no way I could let myself hit 300 pounds. Like
Right.
that's ridiculous. There's no reason for it. And
Right.
so started journaling and taking care of myself, making miniature goals every day
Right.
and trying to change my eating habits. It's the middle of the pandemic,
Yeah.
and it was difficult, right? I was working 12, 14 hours a day. I'm a bakery manager at just a local grocery store chain. And so dealing with all sorts of stress, asshole customers. I have a
Mm.
mask exemption, so I wouldn't wear a mask, and people would belittle and berate me for not caring and murdering their grandma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, they'd come to the grocery store every day because it's the safest thing, right? They had
Right. Right. Yeah.
those signs on the
That
floor.
grandma murderer
Safe
is there. I
life.
need him
Yeah.
to breathe on me so I can bring. Yeah.
And so there was stress, and a lot of
Yeah.
stress,
I'll bet.
and there was a bunch of coworkers that would quit and leave, and so staff turnover was high, and I was
Mm.
working too much, and I was eating unhealthily, the wrong stuff, and I started journaling. And I started microdosing actually in
Oh,
January
okay.
of 2022, microdosing
Shrooms.
shrooms,
Yeah.
and that really helped me focus
Mm.
and realize that making these small steps all accumulate into big steps.
Right. Right.
And so it wasn't till about March that I was able to actually stop eating junk food at an unhealthy rate. Like I didn't
Mm.
quit eating junk food. I'm a baker. I need to
Right.
sample these
Right.
things,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
and nobody's going to trust a skinny baker,
Yeah.
although
Yeah.
I'm going to be a swole baker pretty soon.
Nice. Love it.
But yeah, the mushrooms, the microdosing really helped me get past my failures because it'd be stressful. So I'd go home and I would stress eat, and life at home wasn't exactly the best either. My wife, ex-wife now, we'll get to that.
Oh boy.
She's actually the only person in the BC government that's working that's unvaccinated, and it's mostly because of my help getting her through this stuff. And yeah,
Mm.
out of the entire population in BC, my ex-wife is the only one that's still working that's not taking a COVID shot. She's not.
Jeez.
I don't know if she's taking them now, but she's
Right.
up until then. So she was working from home, and that was stressful, and
Mm.
not being able to go out on date nights and not being able to go out and do all the things that we normally did because we were unvaccinated, and I'm still unvaccinated. I'm not
Right.
ashamed to admit that at all.
Mm.
I'm not killing grandmas, maybe grandpas.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Josh. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit I am vaccinated at this point.
It's,
So, I mean, that's a story for another podcast. Not that ashamed, but I'll tell you,
yeah.
yeah, there's you should have no shame about being unvaccinated at
No,
all, from my
so but it
perspective.
caused a lot of stress and a lot of home problems, and we managed to get away for a couple vacations. We actually went to Alberta, drove to Alberta because we could go to restaurants, we could go
Right.
to places, and so we took a vacation there. And yeah, I slowly started to actually see progress. 1 pound, 2 pounds a week. I bought myself a little Fitbit,
Right.
government
And
tracker.
so what time of year, I guess? So you started in January. Now, when are you starting to see progress?
I'm starting to see progress about March, April.
Okay, so this is like 2 or 3 months of
Yeah, 2 or 3 months of trying and failing, going to the gym, trying whatever, hurting myself. Like,
yeah,
I've been through some catastrophic injuries as a kid,
right.
and I do have, like, I broke my back, I broke my knee, I fractured my skull, all sorts of things. So these injuries linger. My hand
Yeah.
too, I broke all 3 of these metatarsals. But and I had constantly had my ex-wife now telling me that I was too injured to work out, that I was going to hurt
Mm.
myself doing deadlifts, I was going to hurt myself lifting weights. And I still struggle with this now. I
Great, eh?
still hear her voice telling me that I can't do this. But it was about March, April that I started going to the gym doing really light weights. And it was embarrassing, to go in there and pick up the 10-pound weights and start
Right.
curling and doing flies and stuff with 10 pounds. But I
You
got
did
over
it.
it, got over
Yeah.
my ego, and I just started recording my workouts. And eventually, it actually really accelerated my weight loss. I noticed that I was losing weight better by lifting weights than doing any sort of cardio.
Mm.
And cardio, I have asthma. So again, my ex-wife's voice in my head telling me I
Right.
can't do cardio because I have asthma. And so summertime hit, and I was just like, my mom was going through cancer treatments. She was dying. I had this major like breakdown. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I wasn't doing good. And I like reached out to who I thought was the one person that would help me in this stuff, my wife at the time. And she was cold. She was like totally detached and didn't
Mm.
seem to care, and caused me a lot of weird emotions and stuff. And realized that, we were drifting apart. We'd been married for almost 20 years. So obviously, need to
Well,
do
it
some.
also sounds like she had some kind of commitment or preference for you to continue being overweight, to
Yeah.
be, like she's constantly like, now, so she's seen a giant change in you
Yeah. So she
that,
started seeing these
yeah.
changes, and yeah, I noticed, like, I'm a baker, so, and I was fully trusting of my ex, and happy, content, right? And
Yeah.
if you're happy and content, that's a dream killer. I'll tell you that right now. So
Right.
every day I would go to bed at 7 o'clock because I had to get up at 3 or 4 in the morning to go to
Mm.
work. And when I had this breakdown about my mom and my relationship with my wife, I stopped sleeping, and I started noticing some serious red flags that she was going out at like 9 o'clock at night, and she was
Oh
lying
boy.
about where she was going. And yeah, so
Mm.
that caused even more problems. And, but, it sent me to the gym. I figured, like, okay, well, obviously my wife isn't attracted to me, so I need to fix myself. And
Right.
yeah, really started working out, really started controlling my diet. And she noticed my eating habits had changed. We'd go to the movies and I wouldn't eat popcorn. And
Right.
she would like try to make me eat popcorn. Oh, eat this, eat this. I got extra butter. Well, yeah, I like extra butter, but trying to lose weight. And she
Right.
almost, it's like weird. She would get mad at me for trying to lose weight. And
What do you think that was all about?
well, I know what it is about. She's a big control freak, but also, like, come Canada Day, we went on vacation and there was some weird stuff going on, really weird stuff. She disappeared for like 8 hours on our first day of vacation. And there was some interesting stuff on like Instagram that I'd noticed,
Hmm.
flirting with this guy. Asked her a bunch of questions like, are you having an affair? You having an emotional affair with this guy? No, no, no. No, she was.
Oh boy.
She broke up with me on Canada Day, the day we got back from vacation. But throughout vacation, like, that was a weird vacation. I hit again another rock bottom, and it was my wife that at the time that kept kicking me when I was down. I was struggling with mental stuff with my mom. There's a horrible story about the hospital. My mom was in the hospital, and I went to go see her, and they wouldn't let me because I wasn't vaccinated.
Right. Right.
And even though the rules in BC are that if someone's in palliative care, you can't demand to see vaccination. But these little power hungry freaks that they call them ambassadors at the hospital, wouldn't let me in. And it was this old lady, and I was stressed, and I was like, no, you know what? You can't stop me. I'm going to see my mom. So I walked past her. She called security. I got to the elevator, and the security guard had run out. This fucking big guy, and he had his extendo baton, like one of those
Oh boy.
metal truncheons that, like,
Jesus.
they hurt.
Yeah.
He came running like he was ready to just bash my skull in. You could see that he, like, clearly was not happy. I hadn't done anything wrong. I just walked past the ambassador not showing a vaccine passport. I was going to see my dying mother.
Right.
But put my hands up. I was like, okay, man, don't hit me. I will leave. Do not hit me. And he didn't hit me, but he like grabbed me and forced me out of the hospital. And that caused a major problem for me because I felt like the old Josh would have fought this guy. And I
Right.
felt like a coward. I felt
Mm.
like I was at the lowest of my lows, that I abandoned my mom, that I let this weak government agent fucking use the truncheon of the state to fucking eject me. Sorry if I'm swearing.
No, go ahead, please.
Eject me from the hospital, all over me exercising my fundamental right of not taking corporate medicine that I don't want to do. Like, the
Right.
government doesn't have a right to force me to vaccinate. And so that sent me down even farther, and struggled with that. And eventually my mom's out of the hospital. I'm able to see her, but it broke me down, and noticed all this weird stuff with my wife's behavior that had been going on for I don't know how long. Because
Yeah.
I trusted her. Went to sleep at 7 o'clock. She's fooling around, and found out that she'd been having an affair for probably 2 years, since at least the middle of 2020. And I didn't find this out until she moved out. She told me that she wanted a divorce, that she was done with me, that she'd had enough. It's like, okay, I didn't realize it. Totally blindsided, madly in love with this woman. She's supposed to be the love of my life, be able to trust her. And
Right.
just out of nowhere, I realized that there were some problems. I was working hard on trying to fix them, trying to communicate, trying to make myself look better for her, more attractive for her. So like the fitness
Right.
journey that I went on was not really for me. It was to impress my wife.
Right.
And
It sounds like the more, um, the better version you became of yourself, the less, the more distance
yeah,
it
yeah,
caused almost. So
essentially.
again, what was that about?
Well, she was seeing this other guy. And so there was all sorts of times where back in the day, my wife and I used to like to go hiking. And so she would go on these really long hikes, and then she'd tell me that, oh, you can't come because I'm going too far,
Oh,
and it'll hurt your knee. It'll hurt your back. And then you can't work. So I'm going by myself, but I'm safe. I'm taking the dog. Okay,
right.
cool, cool. But she wasn't going by herself. She was
Right.
going with this dude. And
Oh,
the day
man.
that she left, she moved out of the house. She told my youngest daughter, who is kind of our family blabbermouth, can't keep a secret,
Yeah.
saved her life. She spoiled many Christmas
Oh
presents.
boy.
But she told her that her friend is also getting divorced, and she's just letting him stay with her, and that they're just going to go super crazy and rekindle their 20-year-old relationship. So
Hmm.
that caused a lot of problems. And again, I kind of knew that she was cheating, but I didn't actually know until
Right.
that came out. And that pushed me into even further of working out and focusing on my fitness. But in the process of her kind of leaving, I was cleaning up. We were going through stuff and cleaning up, and I found an old book of mine, which was Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Mm.
And you got to tell you, man, that book probably saved my life. I was
Right.
feeling super low, super unworthy of anybody, of love, of affection. Felt like human garbage. But reading that book, like getting back into it, Marcus Aurelius, his wisdom, his stoic wisdom, really helped me get through some really hard, really dark times. And I just
Right.
dove into studying more. I bought some books written by Seneca and Epictetus, and
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay, I want to get into the Stoic philosophy that kind of saved you, but let's go back for a second for that
sure,
moment that you decided, okay, enough's enough. I need to make a change here. I'm
yeah,
almost at 300 pounds. A couple things that stand out for me about your
mhm,
story. One, you made small goals,
yeah,
daily goals. Like
daily
this
goals,
was a day by day thing for you. It
yeah,
wasn't I'm going on this giant program and here's the end point and it was just day by day.
yeah.
Do it. And I love that because it's like probably created a consistent habit.
It
And
did.
and the fact that you didn't see any results for the first 2 or 3 months, but yet you stayed with it. Um, that's another thing that stands out to me about your story is that you stuck with it even in the face of not really seeing the kind of changes you wanted to. You stuck with it, and it seems like that consistency and those measurable goals were the key to moving the needle here.
They were, and I would always go back and look back. And so, like some of the daily goals were super stupid. Like I'd set goals of like not eating chips for the
Right.
day, and
Yeah.
or walking around the block, or taking my dog for 3 walks instead of 2. And there were these small little goals that when I was feeling down and low, I could flip back a few pages and be like, I'd check them off, or
Right.
I would put a big X when I failed, and I would like reflect, why did I fail on that one? Well,
Awesome.
it was a stressful day. I shouldn't have eaten all those chips, and I shouldn't have eaten that candy, or I shouldn't have eaten that cake. And eventually there were more checks than X's. And it's weird. Like, I could go get my book because I'm still on the same book, but yeah, they were just small little goals. Increase your step count by 500.
Right.
These kind of things that made it easier, because many times I set a goal of like, lose 25 pounds. Well,
Oh
that's
yeah.
a lot of fucking weight to
It's a lot.
lose. But lose 1 pound in a week, that's like,
Yeah.
it's pretty easy. It's not easy. Losing weight is definitely not easy, in the face of like super cheap food. Although now we don't have super cheap food,
But it's
but
more immediately, there's a more immediate feedback, right?
yeah, yeah,
And, one of the things that I find too, I learned the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to go on this program that's going to have this desired result. It's going to be
mhm,
whatever, 12 weeks long. And this is kind of the thing. And then I eat one fucking chip and I'm off the wagon. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Because I go on this spiral of, oh, well, I can't do my diet now. I just fucked my diet up because it was a 12 weeks of very consistent, very
mm,
perfect eating. And now I ruined it by having this one chip, and that one chip then led to three. And then it's like, why bother working out now? Because I'm no longer on the program. I'm not eating the food, So
mm,
you go, I would play these mind tricks where it would just be like, chips for my Achilles heel too, by the way,
mhm,
but obviously, but what I find works better for me now, what is exactly what you're doing, small measurable goals, or
mhm,
what is it that I can do that will get me some results over the long term, that um that is like the minimal effective dose. So now I do minimal effective dose rather than
yeah,
like prescribing a big program, because what can I do consistently on a regular basis? Well, I can do 10 minutes in the gym
yeah,
where I strain my muscles. That's my minimal effective dose. If I do more than that, great, but that'll get me progress in the right direction. I'll
mhm,
strain my
mhm,
muscles, I'll maximize, I'll go to failure on a particular set of exercises. Okay, that'll get me progress in the right direction.
yeah,
And then once I start doing that consistently, the workouts get longer and I start getting more results. And so that's kind of the
mhm.
thing I found. It sounds like you've had a similar experience.
Yeah, yeah. I had to drag myself to the gym, and when my wife decided to leave me, became super depressed. But I didn't let that stop me from going to the gym. In fact, like a lot of people told me, "Oh, that's only why you're going to the gym, is because you're hurt by your wife." And
Mm,
it was like, yeah, this person that was supposed to be my rock, my lifelong partner, just abandoned me for what I could see is like no good reason. Didn't want to work it out. And so I was working it out. I went to the gym every day, especially at first. And sometimes I was in there for 2 or 3 hours because it was the only time that my life didn't hurt.
mm,
Like, supposed to be this tough guy, but my wife leaving me really destroyed me. Really
yeah,
destroyed my self-esteem. Really destroyed my value, my feeling of self-worth, my value as a man in society. I was worried that I was just going to be like one of those divorced dads that lives somewhere else. But I kept going to the gym, and when I was there, it didn't hurt. I mean, it hurt, but
right.
my muscles hurt instead of my brain, and my heart hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I wasn't eating much because the stress of everything. So like I was in a super calorie restricted diet, but it wasn't a diet. I couldn't eat. I couldn't
Mm,
do anything. I wasn't sleeping well, but
right.
I kept forcing myself to go to the gym. And in a period of about a month, I noticed, and I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on like arm exercise. It's totally changed my YouTube algorithm from
Right, right.
conspiracy theories, Bigfoot, aliens, and Alex Jones, Luke Radowski, all these guys to now my YouTube algorithm is like the best workouts for men over 40, the
Right,
best
right.
food to eat after a workout. But I gathered a different kind of toolbox. I figured out all sorts of different exercises so that I enjoyed going to the gym. And
Yeah.
I noticed that, I was making some real gains. Instead of losing like 1 pound a week, I was losing like 3, 4, sometimes 5. And a few people were
Crazy.
telling me that it's unhealthy, it's dangerous, but I mean, I'm carrying around probably 200 pounds of fat. So it's really not that unhealthy. And I was gaining muscle, and kept keeping in my journal. And I'd every day I'd flip open my meditations book and find, it's almost like many people that are like Christian or Catholic can open up the Bible, find a passage, and that relates to their life. And it was the same thing with meditations. I could find some sort of thing that would stick for the day, become the mantra, and I would go to the gym. And yeah, I saw
Nice.
some real results. And now I'm there's like 3 tiers of b- dumbbells that I prefer dumbbells over everything else. And I'm now, when I started, I was working on the first tier, which is like the 5 pounds to 25 pounds, and then the second tier was like 30 to 50 pounds. And now most of my exercises are on the 55 to 105-pound range. And yeah,
Awesome.
it's been good. It's been
And that's just 1 year of steady incremental
Oh, it was a lot of
progress, and it
failures.
adds up.
Yeah, it does add up. It does really add up. Every little day, every little goal, every little bit helps. And
Right.
like, it's not easy, but
So
you
I want to
supplement.
get into some specifics in a second here, but what was it about? How did you overcome failure? Uh, getting down on yourself and get
Um,
back in the gym and get back on the
well, so there's a phrase that really stuck early on when I dug out my Marcus Aurelius book, and it was asking yourself every day if this was essential. And I started doing it with everything. Like, I'm feeling bad about eating chips yesterday. Is that essential? No, because I can't change yesterday. What I
right.
can do is today I can really focus on meeting the goals that I've set for myself.
Mm,
And another one was like, you can't worry about the past, but you should always strive to be a better man today than you were yesterday. And a lot of
right.
the stuff from Marcus Aurelius was not dwelling on the past and not dwelling on the future, because the future is filled with like imaginary problems and imaginary anxiety and all these things that, we suffer more in imagination than we do in reality because we're worried about these things. So I
Right.
really,
Well, what I love about that, that's a very interesting um, way of looking at it. It's like, there's the David Goggins approach where I just told myself to stop being such a little bitch pussy and
yeah,
just
I
fucking do it.
do
Right.
love David Goggins.
I love the guy, but that doesn't work for me. If I try to tell myself that, I give myself the middle finger and say, fuck
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
asshole. I don't like having that tyrant in my mind saying I have to do this. But what I really like about your approach there is not that you're like forcing yourself to go to the gym or calling yourself, it's just that you are, what you're doing is asking yourself a question: is me feeling guilty about what I did yesterday essential? Is that helping in any way? Is it helping to ruminate on things that happened in the past? Because
Mhm.
that's a lot of what actually holds me back a lot of
Yeah.
times from doing what I know is a good thing to do. Is just that, well, I fell off the fucking wagon yesterday, so why maybe I'll get back on it one day when I work up enough motivation and when I have a plan in place and I have everything, all my ducks in a row. No, I love your thing is just don't worry, don't beat yourself up about yesterday. Just
No,
leave it.
you
It's a new
can't.
day. What are you
Yeah,
going to do
every day
today?
it's a new
What do
day.
you want to do today?
Yeah.
I can go spend 10 minutes in the gym. You know what? 10 minutes feels pretty good. I'm going to go for another 10. You know,
Mhm.
so I've been in there for 40 minutes and I'm wanting to go, can't wait to go back tomorrow kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, that I really love that. You
Mhm.
you mentioned at one point that Stoicism, that book by Marcus Aurelius saved your life. So talk to us, my audience who might not know about it. What is Stoicism? What are these teachings that are so
Well,
impactful?
that you can go down a really deep rabbit hole with stoicism, but essentially it's just like you can't change the world around you, but you can change yourself. And you
Right.
can't really affect the world around you, but you can you can affect how you respond to it. So things
Right.
will happen to you, you know, and you can let them happen to you and let them change you, or you can change the way you think about it. So like with my divorce, I could dwell on all of the things that I could have done differently, and I could dwell on what I did wrong, but instead, you know, I had to focus on my thinking about what happened. I can't change the past, but I can
Right.
change the way that I react to the past, and I can change the way I react to these outside and externalities versus letting them dictate my actions, my emotions. You know, it's some people think that stoicism is just becoming this dead person inside where
Mm,
you don't let anything affect you, but it does affect you.
of
It's
course.
just controlling your actions, controlling your thoughts, and realizing, like for me, a lot of the things, these bad thoughts, not bad thoughts, but like thoughts would come in about me being unworthy or unlovable. I'll experience them and then I let them go, and I don't let them affect me or affect my actions. So, you know,
Awesome.
like the main tenet I got is like asking yourself every day, is this essential? If you're sitting at home feeling sorry for yourself, like, is that essential? Is that going to help you? No. What's going to help you is going for a walk essential? Yes, it is totally essential. You need to move. Is
Yeah.
going to work essential? Well, yeah, it's highly essential to, you know, feel like a productive member of your community and your family, be a provider. As a man, you know, I want to be feeling like I can provide for my family. So yeah, going to work, it's essential. Is going
Mm,
to work out essential? Yeah, it absolutely is, because I always regret not going to the gym, but I never regret going to the gym. I've yet
right.
to walk out of the gym feeling like, you know what, I
Ah,
shouldn't have
shouldn't
done
have
that.
done that. Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
on days where I've injured myself, and there was a few times, especially learning, where I got caught up in the gym bro competition, right?
Hmm.
And again, stoicism and Marcus Aurelius really saved me from that mentality where it's like, I'm going to the gym, I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm lifting 10 pounds, and the guy beside me is lifting 110 pounds. And it's like,
Right.
I can do that too. And I would get into it and I would lift heavier weights than I was ready for, and I would hurt myself.
Right.
And again, I had to ask myself, is it essential to compete with a guy that I don't know at the gym?
Right.
Or is it essential for me to lift the weights that are appropriate for me to build the proper weights? Is it essential for me to set goals to get to that weight rather than jumping there? And so,
Love
yeah,
that, man.
it's
That one question, is it essential?
that
Right.
one question really saved my life. Is it essential? Is it essential for me to be ruminating about what I did wrong in my marriage? No, because I can't change that. All I can change is myself. Is it essential for me to sit around and worry that I ate too much junk food yesterday? No, but what is essential is not doing that today, not falling into those traps and
Right.
those repeated pattern behavior, and generally just trying to be a better man than I was yesterday. It's not that I'm
Yeah.
trying to be a better man than Carlos at the gym or,
Right.
you know, Rick at the gym. I'm trying to be a better man than Josh was yesterday. And I'm a better man because I go for walks. I take care of my children. I give them the essential time and attention that they need. I've got the love of my dog. And, you know, those
Right.
kind of things are what make me a better man than I was yesterday, a better provider than I was yesterday. And it took a while to learn that the only person I'm really competing with is myself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I mean, that's what stoicism is to me as well, is the thing I like about it is that it takes the power away from the external environment, from the state, from my detractors and my haters, or from
yeah,
that guy who cut me off in traffic, and it puts the ownership squarely on me. My
yeah,
mindset, my happiness is all based on the thoughts in my own head that are, by the
yeah.
way, under my control. No one else controls my thoughts, even if they'd love to try to control it. Currently, they can't. There's no
That's the
technology out there
last.
that lets other people
Yeah.
control my thoughts. I control my own thoughts, and I can choose my mindset. I can choose how I approach this. I
Mhm.
can choose to have a learning mindset where I look at something that's happened to me as an opportunity for growth, or I can choose to have a fragile mindset where I look at something that happened to me and say, and get beaten down by it and dwell on it and ruminate on it and just get depressed about it. I can choose that. And that's what I love about it. And it's even helped me, Josh, in personal relationships. There's this one book that I love that I think takes a lot from the Stoics, and it's called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, because it says you completely own your own emotions.
Yeah.
If I'm in a conflict with my wife, let's say, and I get triggered and I'm angry and frustrated, the Stoicism in this book, Nonviolent Communication, teaches me I'm not mad because of what she said. I'm mad because of the thoughts I have about what she said. It's my thoughts that are causing the anger, not her that are causing it. So let's separate the two. Let's not take this personal. Let's examine my own thoughts about this, and let's confront the problem from that perspective.
Well, and that's really the last bit of freedom that we kind of have, is our thoughts. Like, I'm sure the government would love to control our thoughts, and corporations would love to control our thoughts, but that's really the first and last bastion of freedom that we have as human beings, is the control of our thoughts. And if you let
the globalists are controlling your thoughts, Josh Steffler, that's why you got to wear a tinfoil hat.
Oh, they don't even make tinfoil; it's aluminum.
Wow, that's true.
Okay. It doesn't block those waves.
Fucking globalists.
But
can't beat them.
It's really like mastering yourself, and if you can control your thoughts and realize that it's not like you said, it's not somebody else that's making you angry. It's your thoughts about that are making you angry. And if you can learn to control that, then that's really that's freedom. And I find that I've found a lot more freedom in my life when I'm able to recenter and not let my ex-wife tries to upset me a lot. And at first it worked, but again, falling back to those Stoic principles of not letting the externalities control me, not letting other people's words control me. I'm not a slave to my ex-wife's words. I am a slave to my own thoughts and my own emotions against that. And so, some people say that I feel and I look a lot colder than I was, but I'm
Josh,
not.
it sounds like there's a lot of people around you that are detractors, that are haters, that are like trying to poo-poo on your success or something like that. Let me ask you this. Is it essential to have these people in your life?
No. No. And they get detracted, they get demoted, and they don't get to come around as much. Like on my Facebook, I have thousands of people through the political activism I've done, all the other like non-political activism and stuff that I've done. And being the kind of person that I don't want an echo chamber, I've always had like leftist and right-wing friends, right? So it's especially the leftists that seem to detract on me and tell me that, well, and some of the conspiracy theorists too, they're worried about how I've become a narcissist, that all my Facebook posts are about me posing in the gym or me putting up pictures of my dog and stuff. But the reality is, like, not a narcissist. I do suffer from body dysmorphia. When I look in the mirror, I still see this old fat Josh from the beginning of my journey. And when I take these pictures and look at them online, I look like a different person. I can see the progress that I'm making. Whereas when I look in the mirror, even though I look different now, it's still difficult to see. Like, I understand what body dysmorphia is. And, it's kind of embarrassing to admit that I have it, but I do. And so that's why I post these things. But then these people are like, you should be posting about the globalists. You should be posting about chemtrails. You should. And it's like, you got a platform, just the same platform as me.
Yeah.
You go do
because we can do a lot of stuff about that, right? I mean, meanwhile, you're over here inspiring the shit out of your boy here. I love it, man. I'm a big believer in preach what you practice. Don't just practice what you preach. That's great. But if you really want to step up your game, preach what you practice. Show us what you're doing that's working. And what you're doing is working, brother. And it's a daily inspiration to me every time I see that. So don't ever stop posting that stuff. No. Do it for your boy here, if nothing else. But I want to get into guys. I want to leave my audience for sure with some actionable advice here, because you've made a significant body transformation over the past year. But before I get to that, what would you say, what's your current, I guess, regime or plan? Do you have a nutrition plan or a workout plan that you're following right now, or a philosophy that you follow?
Yeah, well, I do. I work out pretty much 5 days a week. And when I'm not working out, I'm walking. I hit at least 10,000 steps a day. I set a goal of the beginning of it was 6,000 steps. And then I started hitting that easily. And then I hit seven and I just kept increasing it to, I keep it at 10, but I regularly blast that out of the water. And
Right.
I'm normally hitting like 20,000 steps. I walk a lot. And that's like the main cardio that I get. I don't go to the gym and blast a bunch of cardio. From what I've
Yeah.
learned is that, especially for men, the best way to lose weight is to gain muscle. And
Yeah.
so I lift heavy weights. And my regime, I usually do full body workouts every day.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
do 2 in a row and take a day off, 2 in a row, take a day off. But sometimes if I'm feeling depression setting in or feeling unmotivated, I'll go to the gym again. And
Yeah.
I'll
And
do like
so by full body workout, are you doing the same type of workout every, like, I know you're hitting all
I
the
do the
body
same
parts, but
workout 2 weeks and then I change it.
gotcha.
So every 2 weeks I change it, and I've got a rotating list of shoulder exercises, chest exercises, back exercises, leg exercises, biceps, triceps, and core.
Gotcha.
And I do almost all of it with barbells or dumbbells, not barbells. Um, and so usually it's 2 shoulders, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 back, and 2 core every day. So it's about 10 different exercises. And I usually go hard, right? Like
Yeah.
I try to get to the point where I can do 3 sets of 12. And then if I'm failing, I keep going until I can do the first set of 12 easily and the last set of 12 is difficult. Then I up the weight and it goes back down to like
Nice.
6 reps, 7 reps until I keep pushing that up. And I look through my journal, and at the beginning, my deadlifts were like I do Romanian deadlifts with the barbells. And at the beginning, I was doing them with 5, and now I'm doing them with 75. And that's a year, right? And it's
Right.
just making sure that you're not pushing yourself and you're not competing with other people. You're competing with yourself. So,
Yeah.
and my
Steady
yeah, my
progress, man.
nutrition, I do take protein powder because I try to eat like generally it's that 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight, right? If
Mhm.
you're trying to build muscle, and I try to eat clean. I don't eat, and I fail often. I eat cake.
Sure.
I'll eat junk food. I don't drink soda. Actually, that's one thing
Do
that
you restrict calories at all, or is there,
I don't
like,
even
are you
count
you don't
calories.
calories? Okay.
I don't. I
Yeah.
just my Fitbit shows me that on average, I'm burning anywhere from 4 to 5,000 calories a day. So
Right.
I can
Wow.
pretty much eat whatever I want, and
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still losing weight. But it's not easy. I mean, the principle is easy: move more, eat less, lift weights.
Yeah.
But doing those things is difficult. It's easy to sit at home and be like, I'm just going to watch another YouTube video. I'm just going to play another hour of video
Yeah.
games. I'm just going to, and then when you're doing those mindless things, you're also eating mindlessly. And
Yeah.
so paying attention to what you do and what you eat, like I eat breakfast. Usually I focus on high protein foods like eggs, bacon. I love bacon. Well, it's never going to not eat
Yeah.
bacon.
Yeah.
I don't restrict carbs, but I don't eat a lot of them either.
Right.
I'll eat pasta,
Yeah.
eat potatoes, but generally I just portion control is a big
Yeah.
thing. That's the one thing that I used to struggle with was especially with junk food, and I would
Yeah.
beat myself up about it. But use little bowls now, and I feel stupid pouring it into. I've got this little Winnie the Pooh bowl from when my boy was 2, and that's my portion. So I'll
Yeah.
pour chips or I'll pour candies or whatever into it, and then that's the portion.
And
And
do you find you get hungry or, anything like that? Like,
mm, if I
or is
am
it more like a
hungry,
craving? It's like, "Oh,
it's
have
more
a
of a
sip."
craving.
Yeah.
And when I crave, I'd like worked on myself to, and this is stupid, but I'll drink a glass of water and I go for a walk around the block. I'll take my dog
Nice.
up to what we
Love it.
call the secret park, which is this park up the road that my kids named the secret park. It's part of our weird family vocabulary, but it's just this tucked away park. So I found that when I wanted more, like I'd give myself one portion of the snack, and if I wanted more, drink the water and go for the walk. And usually by the time I came back, I didn't want it. I was good. And
Yeah.
it was like this weird mind hack that I learned from diving deep into YouTube fitness stuff, where it's like
Right.
hacking your brain. So not allowing yourself that stuff. It's the same with like secondary portions at dinner. If I wanted more, I would wait, go for a walk, and come back. And not only have I utilized, like, burned calories, but you usually let your stomach stop communicating with your brain that you want more, you want more, you want more. And that was like one of the biggest hacks that I learned was, and it helped me control my cravings. It helped me control my portions. I still do it to this day where it's like, oh, I would love another bowl of chips. Well, slap my dog's harness on. We go up for a walk, come back, and we're good to go. And she gets
Right.
all the walks. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's an awesome idea. I love that.
yeah,
Yeah, I find here's what I love about what you're doing. You're not beating yourself up, right? You've got this philosophy of, okay, just one day at a time,
mhm,
what's essential. If I failed yesterday, don't beat myself up about it. Just focus on what's essential today.
mhm,
And to me, that is the recipe for success, because
yeah,
I was wondering, and I was kind of waiting for it, and I was worried about it for you. Was I've been on so many different diets and workout plans and stuff like that, and there's inevitably a falling off the wagon, and
yeah,
then kind of a spiral into a little bit of a depression or different
mhm,
things like that. And I've seen it happen to so many people
yeah,
where they'll have success and everything will be great, and then they'll run into their first obstacle, and things will. But it sounds like what I love about what you're saying is you approach it one day at a time and you'll beat yourself up about it. And I
yeah.
think those two things are key, and you've got those in spades. So, um, what what advice would you have for someone who's like, looking in the mirror and saying, I ought to make a change?
Mhm.
What are some of actually, before I get to that, what YouTube channels do you watch that you recommend in the fitness space?
In the fitness space, there's Gravity Transformation, which is Max Pasternak, I think. I like him
Okay.
because he caters more to older men like
Hmm.
me. Um, and then there's the Fit Father Project, which I really like. And again, it's a guy like me. Well, he looks way better than me, but it's more, all the stuff that I'm on is more geared towards older guys and not competing. It's not the bodybuilder ones. It's
Right.
safe workouts, effective workouts.
Right.
It's yeah. So and then I just dive into weird YouTube algorithms. But those are the
Yeah.
my main two that I go to. And
So say them again. There's
Gravity Transformation,
gravity transformation
which is
and
Max Pasternak, and the Fit Father
the
Project.
Fit Father Project.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And those are the two main ones that I watch. And then every now and then I'll go in and find funny videos or just
Yeah.
like the top 5 workouts for men over 40 because I'm
Right.
over
Right.
40 and I'm not trying to like, well, I am trying to like build myself. I've got a vision board of what I want to look like, and it works
Awesome.
well. So
Awesome. And how are you finding, like, you're obviously gaining strength. I'm
yeah,
guessing you're increasing your muscle tissue
yeah,
mass, but at the same time you're losing weight.
yeah,
That's, very difficult to do.
yeah.
This is
Well,
why bodybuilders usually go in cycles
of
where
bulk
they're
and
bulking
shred.
and cutting, right? And as they cut, their goal is to cut mostly fat and not as much tissue, but inevitably they cut a little bit of muscle tissue as
Yeah,
well when they go on these cuts. So you're obviously in a calorie deficit, or you wouldn't
yeah.
be losing overall mass, but
No,
at the same time you seem to be growing muscle tissue. What
yeah.
what gives? What do you think the
All the
secret is?
fat. So the essential thing is like I've got a ton of energy reserves.
Right.
I'm still overweight. And so what I've learned is that like even when I'm in calorie deficit, what happens is all the fat, like, it oxidizes and you use up
Yeah.
those that reserve. So like if you're overweight, you don't really, I didn't worry about my diet at first. I just kept lifting heavy weights because it takes more energy to maintain the muscle than it does the fat, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in a not a unique position, but a lot of guys that are heavier like me, even the beginning parts of it, you start to lose that fat pretty fast.
Right.
And I'm at the point now where I need to like buy a complete new wardrobe. Most of my
Okay.
clothes don't fit.
Okay.
'Cause
So Josh, a year ago, you were just a pound under 300. Where
yeah,
are you at now in your journey?
219.
219. Wow. You're lighter than I am
Yeah,
right now.
so
That's
it's pretty
awesome.
good.
Love
I'd
it.
like to get back up, maybe like I'd like to be a lot bigger,
Okay. Yeah.
but
So you're all about changing your body composition. It's
yeah,
not necessarily about hitting a number, a mass
no,
number. It's
the
about
numbers don't the numbers help inspire me, but it's
right.
more the way that my clothes fit.
Yeah. And I'll tell
Yeah,
you, you've been looking pretty good on your, you know, photos that you post. I'm like, wow,
yeah,
this guy's making some huge gains, Tim. What's your excuse, buddy? Get in there. Okay,
they
let's take it to the audience now. Let's give folks some actionable bits. They're looking
sure.
in the mirror, they're not completely happy. What can they do to
Yeah,
to
to
change your life?
change.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was I started going for walks. Get outside and get moving because the more you move, the more you're going to lose your weight. Find a big hill in your town and climb it every day. There, for me, I talk about this place called High Rock Park. I walk it every day, and it's a pretty steep slope to get up. And the first time I did it, I needed 3 breaks to get up there. I'd stop, catch my breath because I'm overweight and 300 pounds, lugging 300 pounds up a big hill,
Mm,
not easy. But I did it and I did it every day. No excuses. It was raining, it was cold, didn't matter. And I took pictures of myself just to prove to myself that I could do it. And
right.
so going for a walk, getting yourself over 10,000 steps is like massive because when you're walking, you're doing good work. You're working your entire body, and then just start simple. Find something that you like to do
Yeah.
and continue to do it. Like I like lifting weights. Um, so, if you like doing, running, go for a run. If you like walking, go for a longer walk, do two. But that's how you start, is just that first step is
Yeah, and it's
walk
it's
up a
it's
hill.
all about consistency, right? I mean, there,
Consistency
there's
and
no there's no such thing. The optimal fitness program is
is
um,
the one that you're going to
one
do.
the one that you're going to do, the one that
Yeah.
you can do day in and day out. So don't beat yourself up or look for
No. And
like
don't,
for example, myself, I lift heavy with low reps, okay?
yeah,
Because I've
that's
been told that look, re, I've injured myself doing higher reps, 8 to 12, which is a typical body builder rep range.
yeah,
And the reason is because when you're lifting heavy and you start to get into those higher reps, your form starts to go and
yeah,
so it's better to actually jack the weight up higher and do lower reps because
mhm,
if you still have good form on that fourth or fifth rep, you're less likely to injure yourself than if you have a lighter weight but higher
yeah,
reps. So, this is an argument that bodybuilders or workout people have all the time about my program's the best. No, mine's the best because of X, and this is what you should be doing. This is what, no. I'll throw all of that out the window. Believe me, we'll have plenty of shows on talking about different workout regimes and nutrition regimes and different things like that because I want to give you guys the best tools available. But this is the most important lesson out of everything, out of all the different types of ways you could be eating and working out. The most important is the stuff that Josh is talking about right here. It's about the mindset, and it's
mhm,
about the consistency, and it's about the forgiving yourself and letting
yeah.
go and focusing
Well,
on what's essential today. All that stuff is the most important thing you can do for your fitness and your freedom than any of this other stuff
yeah,
that we're going to get into in future episodes about rep ranges and different things like that. But Josh, thanks so much. And look, it sounds like from what I can see, your life's going pretty good. I mean, you are you're nearly 80 pounds lighter than you were this time last year. Um, you dumped some baggage that was holding you back.
yeah,
I see you out there walking. You got a great puppy dog companion.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
it, did I
He's great.
mistakenly, or did I see that you have some success in the romantic front as well?
That was, we're just friends now. We're just friends.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey,
Things were too fast for my kids, so I had to
fair
like
enough.
dial back, and
Hey,
my kids just weren't ready for me to be in a relationship. So that's okay.
and that's fair. But look, you had an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? Let's
Oh
just
yeah.
say
Yeah. Good.
things are looking up for Josh.
Yeah.
Choices are available for Josh. Whether
Yeah.
he chooses a path or not is,
Yeah.
you're increasing the amount of freedom you have in this world, and I love it,
Mhm.
and I love to see it, brother. I'm so happy for you, and I'm
Thanks.
so grateful you came on the podcast to share some
Mhm.
very personal stuff, and also to give us some really
Yeah.
good, inspiring advice about
Well,
how to break the cycle.
definitely. And if I can leave people with one thing, it's read Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus
The
Aurelius.
wisdom is so old, but it applies. And, I mean, some people rely on the Bible if that's what you want, or your religious books. Those are good too, but like a lot of people aren't religious anymore, and that's okay. That's their choice. But Marcus Aurelius applies to everybody. And if
Yeah.
you just read one book this year, which you should read more, read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It will change your life.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And listen, audience, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoy what's going on here today, you want to hear more of these conversations, or you want to get more into the nitty gritty of, let's say, fitness and working out, and would like some more support, I encourage you to come to my locals page. Go to locals.com, look up Tim Moen, and come to my page, become a supporter over there, and get involved in the conversation. And I can give you more direct, hands-on advice and input, and we can support each other in achieving our goals. So go to locals.com. Josh, once again, thanks so much. Appreciate you having on
Yeah,
the Tim Moen Show. Till next time.
appreciate it.